We're approaching the halfway point of the season for the ADAC GT4 Germany. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Oschersleben Motorsport Arena. Welcome to the Magdeburg board. We're about 20 miles away from the wonderful town of Magdeburg, and we are at this circuit. Always a great pleasure to come here. But conditions are a little bit different to what we witnessed yesterday. It was hot and sunny yesterday. It was reasonably hot and sunny for qualifying this morning, but air temperature still up at about 25 degrees centigrade. But crucially, since that qualifying session this morning, we've had a little bit of rain. We had some rain during the DTM race just prior to this, and there's a bit more rain falling at the moment. This could be interesting for race 6 of a 12 race season. It was yesterday that we saw Philip Gogolok and Jan-Philipp Springhob take their second win of the season. But boy, was Philip Gogolok pressured home by Roman Feldner-Feldeg. He kept the heat on all the way to the flag. Eventually, he, along with Marit Buchmann, scoring a second place. In third place was the very impressive Benjamin Silvesterson. He'd come back from a trip through the penalty box, having exceeded the pit speed limit during the pit window, had to fight his way back up through the pack, and he, along with Gabriele Piana, finishing in third place. It means that they have kept themselves well and truly in the championship hunt. Denny Burns and Lachlan Robinson still lead the Drivers' Championship with 90 points. Yesterday, 7th place was about as good as they could get with the Avia WNS Porsche, but Piana and Silvesterson jumped back up to second place with 81 points. They are now just 9 points back from Denny Burns and Lachlan Robinson. Alain Gabet and Maxi Schreier dropped down to third. They're still 12 points back, so still in touch. And up to fourth place, Jan-Philipp Springhob and Philip Gogolok. They have 75 points, 15 points back. But it's this car that you can see on your screen now that is suddenly making the headlines. Lucas Cartel and Hudson Schwartz have followed up a couple of third places at the Norrisring in the Toyota Supra. And here for race 2 of the weekend, Lucas Cartel has put the car on pole position, looking to potentially take a second ever win for a Toyota Supra in the ADAC GT4 Germany. We'll have to look quite a long way back to see the last time that a Toyota won a race. In fact, the only time a Toyota has won the race in this series was back at the Nürburgring in 2022 as Cedric Pirot and Marcel Lanez then. But it wasn't just the pole position this morning, it was the way in which he did it. Lucas Cartel was 0.644, which is an eternity, well over 0.6 of a second ahead of his nearest challenger, Benjamin Silvesterson. It was a dominant pole. Clearly, this tricky circuit here at Oschersleben Motorsport Arena suiting the nimble little Toyota. Roman Feldner-Feldeg didn't have quite the joy that he had experienced yesterday afternoon. He got together with Daniel Drexel. An incident in quali this morning has seen Roman Feldner-Feldeg relegated to the back of the pack. He's had some damage, and they've had to breach Parc Fermé rules to repair that car. Talking to Daniel Drexel, they're keeping the car as it was despite the issue that they had this morning, because they don't want to lose what was and is a fairly good grid position for Daniel Drexel. So Daniel starting on the 6th row in 12th place on the grid. So plenty to think about in this race. The rain is coming down, but it's not enough really to unsettle things at the moment, although it has been declared a wet race and the race director has instructed 2 formation laps. The cars have got the engines running on the grid, and alongside me, Chris Hartley is poised and ready. If we get a race half as good as yesterday, we'll be happy, won't we, Chris?
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? And some cracking moves from the driver that lines up second on the grid in that number 51 BMW, Benjamin Silvesterson, with 2 really, really good overtaking moves. One at turn 13 and one at turn 14. And we've got that rain coming down more and more consistently now, as we've seen. So it's been declared a wet race, but it's been declared a wet race to give the option to the teams to put those wets on, not necessarily because it is soaking wet. I think it's probably just about dry enough at the moment, but it isn't around the region, and if it continues to drizzle like this, they might start to think about wet tyres at some point during the race. But for now, I reckon they'll all be on the slick tyre, won't they?
Yes, and it's kind of really tricky because you have the pit window. The drivers are all going to have to come in for a mandatory stop, but that doesn't open until 25 minutes into the race. It remains open for 10 minutes. So, of course, don't want to be coming in unnecessarily. If you want any rain, you want it to be just before the pit window so you can come in and do just that one stop during the pit window. But we've got plenty of racing to come before that. You can see the track is looking dry, even though we've got the windscreen wipers running on the Cupra safety car and some of the cars as well. But a first ever pole position for Lucas Cartel, Benjamin Silvesterson. What an impressive performance yesterday. Impressive in quali this morning in P2. Yesterday's winner, Philip Gogolok, lines up alongside another impressive driver, Victor Nielsen, along with Gianni van der Kratz. What a potent combination those two are. Hendrik Still, leader of the Pro-Ams, had a dreadful day yesterday, had Lucas Stoffelhagen alongside him, and then Alon Gabet and Lewis Moser line up on row 4 of the grid. On row 5, it's Philip Viskersen and Denny Burns, the championship leader. He, along with Lachlan Robinson, not really enjoying the pace that they've had so far this season. Frederick Zebis and Daniel Drexel line up on row 6 of the grid. And then on row 7 is Marius Schmid and Kayam Potez, two Mercedes who line up alongside each other. Next up on the grid, row 8, Oscar Dix from the UK has Hamish Forrest from the UK, who shares with Jack James from the UK. Bit of a pattern there. Igor Litvinenko's feeling very left out on row 8. On row 9, Lawrence Rule has Roman Felderfeldegg been relegated to the penultimate position because Eric Bertelsen was underweight. Well, his car was, at least. The Ginetta team had worked really hard to rebuild that car, KRT Racing, after an incident in the race yesterday. Looked into the team yesterday evening and they were working really hard. There was no left front quarter on the car as they were trying to rebuild it. Unfortunately, the car is coming underweight post-quali as well, so their weekend has been long and painful. But Eric Bertelsen, the Swedish driver in the Swedish team with the Swedish co-driver, will be looking to come back from that if he can, as much as possible in this race. Just looking at the other championship standings, we have the rookie rankings at the moment. Marius Schmid leads that, 24 points clear of Lucas Stiefelhagen. Hamish Forrest is in third place in the rookies with 69 points. You're looking at the overall classification on your screen there, which we just talked about. In the Pro-Ams, Tim Horrell and Hendrik Still lead Jesper Jensen and Lawrence Rule by 50 points. Make that 30 points because my maths is iffy. In the team standings, Avia WNS Motorsport lead FK Performance Motorsport. They've got 168. FK Performance have 137. Lots of championships to keep on top of, but of course the Drivers' Championship is the one they all want to win. And Denny Burton and Lachlan Robinson, I said just now they didn't enjoy the pace that they'd had earlier on in the season. Some tracks favouring the Porsche better than others, and certainly here at the Oschersleben Motorsport Arena, they feel like they've got as much out of the car as they can. Look at that. The wet weather tyres are on standby at ME Motorsport. The crew getting ready there in case it is needed. But at the moment, despite the rain on the camera lens, the drivers are going to have to tiptoe around this first lap. It's a circuit that's 3.667 kilometres around with 14 turns, 7 to the left, 7 to the right. Unusual pit entry and pit exit. They jump into the pits out of turn 14. Coming out of the pits, it dumps you right in the middle of the hotel turn 2. One of the trickiest corners on the GT4 calendar. So that's always fairly dramatic as the cars now line up side by side as we get ready. It will be race 6 of a 12 race season, the second race here of the weekend at the Oschersleben Motorsport Arena. We look at those 5 red lights. Are you ready? Let's go racing in Oschersleben, ADAC GT4 Germany, and Lucas Cartel in the Toyota Supra jumping into the lead. It's side by side for Benjamin Silvesterson and Philip Gogolok into that tricky hotel turn. Now this is going to be very slippery because of the rain that we've seen, so the drivers will be driving with their fingertips out of turn 2 and then towards Hasseröder. Everybody being very sensible, calm and collected at the start of this race. It is an hour of racing, 60 minutes plus 1 lap with that mandatory pit stop. Out of Hasseröder they come and out towards turn 4, but already the Supra has opened up a gap, looked dominant in qualifying this morning, continuing to look very, very strong at the start of this race. The headlights are on, the light is fading, but everybody fighting for positions. There's Lewis Moser in the 49 car. He shares that with Luca Link, another potent driver combination. So many strong driver combinations, and that was a car going the wrong side of the bollards. I think it's Philip Viskersen who went to the other side of the bollards, probably just saying he didn't have the room. Cars still weaving as they head along the back straight, trying to generate heat into the tyres, but Lewis Moser already trying to make a move up through the pack. Alain Gabet is the red, white and black Porsche just in front of him in 7th place. Gabet, who came into this weekend 2nd in the championship, dropped down to 3rd yesterday, needs points, needs to not get involved in any incidents. Lewis Moser, along with Luca Link, looking for every point they can get. But with lap 1 in the books, it's looking pretty dominant at the moment for Lucas Cartel.
Yeah, good start as well for the Porsche of Hendrick still, the red and white number 32 car, the Avia WNS Motorsport car, getting from 6th up to 4th place at the start of that race. Going backwards 1 place, the bright blue number 5 BMW of Nielsen, which has just lost that really through turns 2 and 3. Get a replay of contact there. The Mercedes getting a tap from the number 8 Porsche, and then potentially losing more positions as he lost momentum coming out of the corner. But Cartel, yeah, decent start. That Toyota in fully dry conditions yesterday looked a bit of a handful at times, but he's made a perfect start, the Belgian driver. He's just done the absolute best first sector of this race, as you'd expect as well. So his gap is 1.3 seconds to Silverstone in the BMW. The Aston of Gogolok had a good start, but couldn't really make the most of it on the way through turns 1 and 2. And so still was the one that made the best of all starts in the top 10 at least. He got himself from 6th to 4th in that Porsche, Nielsen down to 5th, and then another BMW, Stiefelhagen, number 66, is rounding out the top 6, trying to get a first top 6 finish of the weekend. 3rd place,
Philip Gogolok is currently carrying 15 kilograms of success ballast. And currently he's going to have it for the whole race on account of winning yesterday. Just looking at some debris disappearing off to the side as the cars come round the corner. With the extra 10 kilograms on board is Roman Feldegg, and Benjamin Silverstone has an extra 5 kilograms on board. That's what you get for finishing on the podium. At the moment, in the slippery conditions, maybe that won't disadvantage quite as much. I say slippery conditions. Looks to me like the rain has stopped. It doesn't look like there's any kind of wet line, so it's dry at the moment. There's a fair bit of rain in the forecast, though. I'm looking in the background at 2 Avia WNS Porsches that have been running side by side. Very important that the sister cars don't take each other out. One of them is Denny Burt, the other is Frederick Zebis. So really punchy stuff from Frederick Zebis, making his debut this year in ADAC GT4 Germany, and trying to make a move on the sister car in front. But please be careful, because that's the championship leader that you are challenging there.
A very sensible first lap, as you say, from everybody, where it was still a little bit damp, certainly off the racing line, and they didn't really know how much grip was there. They would have been trying to generate as much heat in the tyres and the brakes as they could by getting on and off the brakes on that formation lap, and having a feel for it as well under acceleration behind the safety car for those 2 formation laps. But you never quite know what it's going to be like until you go at it full hammer and tongs, and they all did a really good job. And now it's a case of pushing on more and more and more, because the track will dry up, you will brake later, you'll get on the power quicker, you will and therefore you should see some quicker lap times coming, as long as that rain stays off. So now you've got to keep pushing on. Absolute best lap of the race has gone to the race leader Cartel. 131.9 last time around, was almost half a second quicker than Silverstone, and on this lap he crosses the line 132.7. It's quicker, but not as much quicker. It's 1.5 tenths up. It does mean, though, the gap from 1st to 2nd, after just 3 laps of racing, is nearly 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal pace from that Toyota Supra. Lucas Cartel, up until now, he and Hudson Schwartz, who comes all the way from the USA. Lucas comes from Belgium for CRT Sport. They've had a couple of podiums. They got 2 third places at the Norris Ring. This, of course, is a very different kind of circuit, but showing how talented he is, how strong that car is, with the extension of that lead. I reckon he's going to be over 2 seconds by the time they get to the end of this lap. Of course, everybody needs to be careful. They need to think of the long game here. When they come in for the mandatory pit stop, there will be no tyre changes. They've got to keep the same tyres that they started the race. And Benjamin Silvesterson getting the rears on that BMW a little bit grubby as he runs through the dirt and chucks a load of it in the face of Philip Gogolok in 3rd place as well. Good job from Hendrik Still. He's in the Pro-Am race. And remember, he'd got together with Victor Nielsen yesterday. Nielsen picked up 3 penalty laps as a result of it. Hendrik Still picked up 0 points as a result of it and a non-finish. And guess who's behind Hendrik Still on the track? It's Victor Nielsen. Victor, who was in the GT Masters at the Nürburgring a couple of weeks ago, was very, very impressive. Victor, along with Gianni van der Kratz, the Dutch driver, and an FK Performance Motorsport BMW, what a potent combination they are, and very much in the championship hunt. Talking to championship hunt, the yellow and black, the front of the 2 yellow and black Porsches that you see in the queue there is the championship leader, Denny Byrne, with Frederick Zebis keeping the pressure on, but caught up in the traffic there, maybe a little bit frustrating, taking different lines through the hotel turn as well. Yeah,
which you can do. It's quite a unique corner, that second turn, the big sweeping right-hand corner at Hotel Curve. There is a hotel, Circuit Hotel, just outside of it, and yeah, it is more than a hairpin. It comes right back on itself. You also go on into it directly from that first turn, which is a left-hander. You approach it pretty quickly, and the car is still kind of turned left as you come out of it. And we see this often coming out of that hairpin in particular. It's so easy to, because you want to get on the gas quickly, get on the gas too quickly and run out wide. And that is what happened to the race leading car, which brings me on to my next point, because I was about to say, as the track dries, everybody out there set personal best lap times last time around, except for the race leader. Now we know why. Can't tell. Although it still was quicker than everybody else. It wasn't his best lap of the race, but he was still 66 thousandths quicker than Silvesterson in 2nd place.
That's a great advert for Toyota Supra, quick on tarmac and on grass. Leading the way, Benjamin Silvesterson. I mean, we've been singing his praises yesterday. It was a phenomenal job. Of course, he is coached by his co-driver, Gabriele Piano, is 1.357 back as a result of that little excursion we saw. Philip Gogolog, pretty solid in that 3rd place. Then Hendrik Still, then Victor Nielsen. Lucas Stiefelhagen, another up-and-coming charger in the number 66 car. But Alon Gabay, the Israeli driver, putting some pressure onto him. Then is Lewis Moser. Then Philips Viskersen and championship leader Denny Byrne. Then Frederick Zebis. Daniel Drexel, who had damage to that car this morning in that qualifying session. The team elected to keep the car in its damaged state rather than breaching Parc Fermé regulations and then starting from the back. So he's putting that to good use in 12th place as well. Roman Velder-Veldeg, who brought out the red flag, is currently fighting alongside Marius Schmid, and that'll be for 13th place. You just saw there. Now we ride on board with Schmid in the pink Mercedes. So Roman Velder-Veldeg, after the traumas this morning, gets nerved back out of the way by Marius Schmid. But when Velder-Veldeg had that incident with Daniel Drexel this morning, it brought out a red flag. Many drivers were a little bit frustrated. It was with 6 3/4 minutes of the quali session to go, and it did cause a few issues for the programs for drivers that were just about to put in their big push laps. At the moment, Velder-Veldeg from the very back, looking fairly punchy, looking for that 13th place. Behind Velder-Veldeg is Kayan Potez in 15th. And then Hamish Forrest, another one who was very frustrated by the red flag. In the background there, you can see Hamish Forrest to the inside of Kayan Potez. So the British driver, who's currently racing with an injury to his leg. Don't ask him how he got that injury, but he's doesn't seem to be slowing him too much. He's up to 15th place. So putting that car to good use. He's relegated Kayan Potez down to 16th. Oscar Dix is behind Potez. Then Eric Bertelsen from the back with Lawrence Rule in 19th.
Yeah, Schmidt in that pink BWT Muka Motorsport Mercedes started 13th, is 13th. That's the car which qualified 3rd yesterday when Alex Connor, the British driver, drove it. He's going to replay the battle between those two Mercedes. And yeah, just a bit disappointing. Haven't made the progress that I would have liked so far. They finished 5th in the race in the end yesterday. And of course, behind him is the Mercedes which finished on the podium yesterday. Roman Velder-Veldeg driving the car currently, the German driver, with Marek Buchmann, who did the start of the race yesterday in that orange and black number 26 Mercedes, which had a very good second place finish for Pro Sport Racing yesterday. But at the moment, they're struggling back down the order, both outside of the top 10. Meanwhile, Cartel controlling things at the front. He's, again, a little bit quicker on that lap by half a tenth, so he's 1.4 seconds clear of Silverstone, who in turn is around about 3 seconds clear of Gogolok's Aston Martin in third.
I think Roman Felderfelder, you can safely say, is wringing the neck of that car. You can see him occasionally getting a couple of wheels on the dirt, clearly frustrated after the problems they had this morning in quali. Right to the inside of Viskirchen. That's Denny Berndt. Will have the bigger picture in mind. The championship leaders can certainly not afford a non-finish. They need points out of every race. They want to take this championship all the way to race 12. So Philip Viskirchen up ahead. The BMW looking to be the quicker package around this circuit. It is a tricky circuit. Overtaking is definitely not easy, and as you see that view down at the hotel turn, you can see it's a really tough corner to conquer. Some quite fast sweeping turns here. Here's Hasseröder, which is a 180, slightly banked as well. It's only when I ran round it on Thursday night that I realised quite how banked it is. Then they head in towards turns 4, 5 and 6, which are all taken in quick succession and fairly fast as well. I think it's a cliche, but we'd call it a technical circuit. Really requires the drivers to be thinking as well as just giving it the boot. As we ride on board with Marius Schmid at the moment out of turn 7 and into the chicane, turn 8 and 9. Chicane, what chicane? Just keep it straight and get your foot planted to the floor. Then along the back straight they go, out of the McDonald's turn and towards Shell Curva.
Yeah, think about this circuit in that the sense that it's a bit like a big kart track, in that a lot of corners flow directly into the next corner, and then even again into the next corner, into the next corner. So you get one wrong, you lose your momentum through a whole series of corners. That's what we mean about it being technical. You've got to be so precise on your entry, your exit as well, because it really does have a knock-on effect. If you get a corner wrong, it really messes basically the whole sector up. You can't really rescue it very quickly at all. And that means, you know, there are a couple of straights here, but they're the longest straights in the world, and they don't go into the heaviest braking zones, so it is hard to overtake. You can get side by side though, and he can set up a move, and he can try and throw it down the inside of the next corner. That didn't quite work out for Felder in the orange and black Mercedes, but he was trying, wasn't he, to send one around the outside at turn 1 to then dive up the inside into turn 2. It was absolutely on his mind, but in the end, probably sensibly, he decided to back off out of it. A word as well, that blue and yellow Ginetta run by KRT Racing, well done to the team there, because they had a fairly late night rebuilding that car, didn't they, yesterday?
Yes, as mentioned, the corner was missing when I walked past it yesterday evening, so they've done a really good job getting that car together and back on track. Lucas Cartel continues to stretch his legs at the front. 1.960. Benjamin Silverstone and Philip Gogolok there. That's your 1, 2, 3 as we look at things settling down at the moment, but still the pressure comes on Philip Viskirchen. 9th place, the orange and black BMW just coming through your picture. Having a look to the outside, Denny Berndt. In the background, Frederick Zebis. He'll be very keen that the sister car doesn't try to get involved in this battle, but of course everybody is pushing for their own careers. There's a replay of Viskirchen going on the wrong side of the bollards, still retaining that position. A track limit warning has been given for that to Viskirchen by our race stewards. Looking here out along the pit straight, and then you've got that left-hander that instantly turns into a right-hander. It is a tricky corner combination, isn't it? You can get alongside the car on the right-hand side into turn 1, but then the car on the outside of you has the momentum around that hotel turn to maybe come back. So I think here where overtaking is limited, a lot of trying to pressure into mistakes is what the drivers are trying to do. Yeah,
it's not easy here at this stage of the weekend as well. Just looking at that replay, we saw Viskirchen in the ME Motorsport BMW, the black and orange BMW, just skating through the chicane, missed the turn-in and had to straight line it. He didn't gain an advantage from it, so I think he'd be okay. But you could see on the slow-mo all the marbles of rubber that are either side of the racing line. it's the end of a weekend. We've had a whole weekend of racing for GT4 cars. We've just had a second DTM race of the weekend. We've got DTM Classics here. We've got Junior Tourenwagen Cup with the VW ups. They've all been going round and they've all been depositing. You can see it there in the background, all this rubber, these shards of rubber that come off the tyres. And if you pick those up, it really affects the smoothness of the tyre. We'll go side by side again with the two Mercs. And again, is he just about going to fend him off? It's going to be hard. He might get through this time, you know. He's committed, but they're going to run side by side again into the next turn and just about fending him off here is Schmidt, but Felder-Feldeg might come under fire himself now and lose a position to the Porsche, which is exactly what happens. So down the inside of it gets Hamish Forrest. So that was a really good piece of opportunistic driving. And that's exactly what we mean by, you know, if you've got to commit to a move, you've got to be absolutely sure it's going to work, because if you back off out of it and get off the throttle, somebody will get past you and you'll lose a place instead.
Oh, I think I can hear the Hamish Forrest family cheering from here. He's such a talented driver and he's showing how to do it there. That was a feisty move. So to the inside, Roman Felder-Feldeg. Feldeg thought about coming back. Forrest was like, don't even think about it, mate. You can see in the Porsche just shutting the door on that Mercedes. A little bit of a love tap. And through he goes out onto the pit straight. That was great stuff from Hamish Forrest. There was a replay of Schmid and Felder-Feldeg, the two Mercs running side by side at that point of the race. Again, good, clean, but robust driving from these young drivers, the GT3 stars of the future, the GT4 stars of the present. Philip Gogolok in third place, as Henrik still behind him, of course, in a car very similar to what Gogolok was running last year. And look at Marius Schmid, he got the back end out, coming out of the corner. That was the only invitation. Look at the progress that Hamish Forrest is making up into 13th place. So he is making great moves forwards, relegating the pink Mercedes, but he too goes wide out of the corner. He just about holds on to it. Marius Schmid sees it as an opportunity to try and come back. Into turn 14 they come. Roman Felder-Feldeg also in there as well, trying to take advantage of any incidents between them. But at the moment, Hamish Forrest is the man on the move. We're looking at our race leader here. Another big slide there for Lucas Cartel in the Toyota Supra, going across the gravel trap, and that is not going to help his race lead. He did have a 2.385 gap last time across the start-finish line. Well, that will have diminished significantly as a result of that little excursion. We'll see what the gap is in a minute. But our race leader not having it easy.
Well, it's because the rain has started to come down a bit more, hasn't it? We can see the windscreen wipers coming on. We see it from the onboards. We can see it out of the commentary box window here. And Oschersleben, and that is big damage to the front right corner of Feldeg's Mercedes. Past him comes the number 92 Porsche of Oscar Dix. And these cars are starting to get very, very skittish. That rain is properly coming. Still's got through as well ahead of the Aston Martin. So that's up to third place. Gogolok down to fourth. Here is a replay of what happened here at this corner. Just they're all missing the apex. Look, it just span half spin, and it was actually in the background two other cars going off through the gravel trap, just completely missing the apex. But he kind of got knocked back into the right position here, didn't he? Because he loses the back end in this big Mercedes, Marius Schmid, and then gets contact. That actually sends him almost back online, but it was to the detriment of Felder-Feldeg in the other Mercedes, which was the one that picked him up. We'll see it here now from Oscar Dix's point of view. There were the contact, front right damage to the orange and black Mercedes, past the pair of them coming Oscar Dix in that orange and white number 92 Porsche. You can see from the rain the slow-mo.
That star is not meant to be there.
You can see all the electrics exposed now, but it's properly chucking it down now, isn't it? Now, do you try and hang on for the pit stop window, or do you just bail for the pits now and go for the wets? And is it going to last long? Because actually, look out the window,
blue sky,
brighter skies not far away.
I think he who holds on may well benefit here. So it's a big shuffle up of the order. This is a real test of these drivers here. If things finished as they are now, Silvesterson and Piana would jump to the top of the point standings. Gogolok and Springhob would be just 13 behind Denny Byrne and Lachlan Robinson, but still plenty of time to go. Safety car is out. I guess that is probably because we've got debris and also rain. The pit window has been postponed, so the 10-minute pit window is not going to open at 35, when the clock strikes 35, 25 minutes into the race. So safety car is out. Kind of think we need that at the moment.
Yeah.
Despite the issues, Lucas Cartel was leading still by 2.4 seconds when the safety car came out, so he won't be too happy about that. Benjamin Silvesterson was in second. Henrik Still, you saw it, got past Philip Gogolok. Of course, Still and Gogolok were teammates this time last year in the Avia WNS Porsche. Victor Nielsen keeping it all together in fifth, ahead of Alon Gabet and Lewis Moser. Denny Byrne, Philip Viskersen and Frederick Zebis rounding out the top 10 as we look at some replays of some of the dramas. But this is really testing some of these younger drivers. Maybe the first time they've had to deal with a GT4 car in these conditions. I'm sure that Mercedes didn't put that star there when they built the car. Not going to be handling so well either, is it?
If you're ever interested in the inner workings of a Mercedes, you can see for yourself now, because there's no bodywork left on the front right corner of that car. Still got the branding in though, as you say, with the three-pointed star hanging on for dear life on the front right corner. But right decision this, I think, to bring out the safety car, because it was starting to get very, very sketchy. And yeah, we're only a few minutes away from the pit window opening, so they would have all tried to carry on, but it would have been very sketchy on the slick tyres. Probably spectators have got the ponchos up, the umbrellas up. Cartel, though, he'll be a bit distraught about this, because his nice comfortable lead, just the lap before it started properly raining again, he set the fastest lap of the race, which was a second quicker than Silvesterson in the BMW behind. So he really started to build it and grow his advantage. But that's now been completely wiped out. So Cartel in the Toyota leads the race by 1.7 seconds from Silvesterson's BMW. Still, who just got third before all that kicked off in the Porsche, ahead of Gogolok in the Aston Martin. Then Nielsen in the blue BMW's back up there with them in fifth place. Sixth is Gabet, number 30 in the Porsche. Burnt championship leader. Seventh.
And that is Forrest. So Hamish Forrest has had a bit of a wild moment there. So he's found a slippery part of the circuit. So that's dropped him. All that hard work dropped him behind Feldeg and Schmid. So Forrest back down to 16th place. I don't think that the number 26 car is looking too healthy, and it may well be that that's not going to make it to the end of the race. So that might be a win for Hamish Forrest, but Feldeg, he's got bodywork rubbing on the wheel there, hasn't he? Look at all that debris. And that was it. There's just no traction to be had out there. Very easy mistake, even behind the safety car. Yeah. No traction at all.
No, exactly right. It's like trying to run on ice with a pair of shoes on, isn't it? You've got no grip, even at these speeds. Yeah, there's a piece of bodywork that's caught between the back of the right front wheel and the rest of the main bodywork, which is rubbing against that tyre and smoking. So they're going to have to rip that away, try and patch it up a bit during the pit stop with some gaffer tape as well, which is not going to be easy because the car's all wet now. So trying to get the gaffer tape to stick is not going to be the work of a moment. And they'll try and get this all done within the minimum pit stop time without delaying him. But the pit stop, I don't think, can come quick enough for Feldeg and the crew. Back in 15th place, that car. Yeah, Denny Byrne doing all right though, isn't he? Up to 7th place, having started in 10th position in the bright yellow and black number 31 Avia WNS Motorsports Porsche. 8th place, number 49 Moser, and another BMW Viskersen, number 77, 9th behind him, and then 33 in the other Porsche, Frederick Zibby, rounding out the top 10 as it stands.
The problem is for Denny Byrne that most of his main championship rivals are ahead of him on the track at the moment, but he needs to make sure he keeps it on the grey stuff and doesn't have any kind of excursions onto the grass. Bring the thing home, points. Consistency is what wins championships. And of course, up until yesterday, that car had finished on the podium in every race of the season so far in the hands of Denny Byrne and Lachlan Robinson. So the track sweeper is out, just trying to clear up some of the debris. Looks to me like the rain has stopped. Looking out the window, I can see some blue skies up above. So I'd like to think that we'll be going racing fairly soon. Of course, the number 2 drivers will be itching to get behind the wheel as well, but this is going to be interesting for the teams. They're going to have to make the strategy call on track conditions, on traffic, and there's going to be a lot of traffic for everybody bar the leader. So they're then going to need to make the decision when to call the cars in, when the pit window does open, potentially to try and get cars out onto open track. But with everybody bunched up like this, that's going to be a challenge in itself. Getting the number 26 car, the Pro Sport Racing Mercedes-AMG, so the finish is going to be a challenge. Marit Bookman probably looking, going, what have you done to my car, Roman? So Roman's not my fault, mate. It's the car in front. So we still circulate behind the safety car. and we'll hopefully get some notification before too long as to when we'll go racing again.
There's still some bodywork at turn 5, I noticed as I went past, which was pretty much on or just off the racing line, so I want to move that as well, because some sharp shards of carbon fibre are a real threat to the tyres and to punctures. So wet tyres are ready, but again now you're like, well, do we need the wet tyres? Because I think it's going to, I think you're right, it's going to dry up pretty quickly. It's still pretty warm day here, it's pretty humid as well, so those wet tyres only really work where there's surface water to cool them down, and there's not really a lot of surface water. It's really just a damp track at the moment. So I'm not sure you're going to see many drivers risking putting the wet tyres on. What we have been spared, of course, if they had not brought that safety car out, the moment that pit window had opened, which was about 3 minutes, 20 seconds away before the safety car came out, they'd have all dived in. That would have been chaos, wouldn't it?
Yes, and they'd all be on wet weather tyres with a drying track. Oh, that would have been a different kind of race, wouldn't it? As things stand at the moment, I think it would be absolutely crazy if it wets on, because you can see the track is not especially wet and it's going to dry very, very quickly with cars circulating on it. So at the moment, they're trying to keep the heat in the tyres, of course. That's why they're weaving, keeping the tyres as close to being in the window as possible, so when they do go racing on this slippery surface, they've got something with which to grip, something to turn, something to stop. So at the moment, Lucas Cartel leading in the Toyota Supra, looking for a second ever Supra win in the ADAC GT4 Germany. It certainly would be the first in this era of GT4 Germany racing. A very nimble little car. It's the 8th season of GT4 Germany, and as I often mention in every race, it's always a good time to mention Gabriele Piana, who has started all 90 races that there's ever been in ADAC GT4 Germany, and he will be taking over the wheel of the second place BMW from Benjamin Silvesterson in a few moments, because the safety car is about to peel off into the pits. We'll let you know as soon as we know when the pit window is going to open. But now Lucas Cartel is going to be the de facto safety car. He can weave, he can do whatever he wants, because it's his decision when to hit the accelerator. The only rule is he mustn't catch or pass the safety car behind him. Benjamin Silvesterson will want to try and anticipate when he's going to get onto the accelerator, because this will be his best opportunity to make a challenge for the lead, potentially at a turn 14 that we're looking at now. Well, that's 13 into 14 and out along the pit straight. Could be the best opportunity he gets. Now Cartel is onto the accelerator, coming into 13, and in the background Henrik's still there as well, with Gogolok champing at the bit. Behind him is Victor Nielsen. So out along past the pits we come, back to green flag racing, just over the halfway point of the race in towards turn 1. Cartel still trying to generate heat, but well ahead of Benjamin Silvesterson. He's done a good job on the restart. Everybody carries on, keeping an eye on Nielsen in 5th place. He's looking a little bit eager, but behind him is Alain Gabet in the Porsche. Championship leader Denny Berndt is there as well. Right, well, you can see new pit stop window, 15:43, which is in 10 seconds, and into the pits, Marius Schmid. Get the feeling that Alex Connor may not get a drive today, because that car looks like it's going no further after the contact with Roman Felder-Veldeg. The damage is looking terminal.
And is he going to block the pit lane?
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's fired it up again. Good, because he was right in the middle of the road, and nobody would have been able to get past it. So, yeah, some issue there with the Muga Motorsport Mercedes. He ambles in, but this is just on a reset, and it's going to be okay
actually,
now.
I mean, there is Alex Connor, it looks like.
It might have just been a reset, some sensor issues, something like that.
They're not going to put wet weather tyres on. I mean, we don't normally have tyre changes in GT4 Germany. They're not permitted unless you have a puncture. So there may be damage to that. Well, there's got to be damage to that front left tyre. So Alex Connor climbs on board. The crew working hard. Remember, the minimum pit stop time, 95 seconds for pit entry to pit exit. So potentially he could do this without losing too much time, but of course he has been stationary in the pit lane as well for that period. So he's going to drop a long way back as the cars come out across the line. We're looking here at our race leader, Lucas Cartel. Right, here come some of the other cars into the pits. That looks like Hamish Forrest, who's getting ready to hand over to Jack James. Kayan Potez in, getting ready to hand over to Jonathan Engstrom. So So a number of drivers coming in early in the pit window. Still plenty of time for everybody else. The leaders are all staying out at the moment. Also the 77 car, that's Philip Viskersen. Linus Harner will be limbering up, ready to jump behind the wheel of that BMW. Roman Velder-Veldegg, with the remnants of the number 26 Pro Sport Mercedes, will hand that over to Marit Bookman and say, sorry about that, mate. Here comes Hamish Forrest. Jack James will be standing by in the Razoon More Than Racing pit. Right, we're looking at a replay here. That was Kyan Potez having to take avoiding action. I think Hamish Forrest might have been quite eager onto the brakes, maybe caught Kyan Potez out a little bit.
Yes, I imagine it's still going to be pretty slippy on that pit lane entry as well, because at least they've been mopping it up a bit on the track, even behind the safety car, but the pit lane entry's going to be a bit skittish, and getting away from your pit box is going to be a bit leery as well. And remember, they rejoin from the pit lane here, right in the middle of the apex of the turn 2 corner. So get on the gas carefully at that stage, because that pit lane exit is going to be a bit slick. Here's the gaffer tape then, double gaffer tape to try and get it to stick. It might peel away if they're not being able to dry the car, but patching it up, trying to get him back out. But yeah, it's just a bit odd with that. The Porsche obviously got damage to the Mercedes obviously got damage to the front left, and they changed the wheel. That doesn't really explain why it basically stopped to the pit lane entry.
No.
So I think something else was going on there.
Yeah. And you heard the engine die and then fire up again, didn't you? So whatever the issue was, well, we'll find out in due course. But at the moment, it looks potentially as though Alex Connor continue in the race. So Connor in the pink Mercedes, as far as I can tell, is out of the pits now. Right, there's Kyan Potez having handed over to Jonathan Engstrom. Just flashing through is also Jack James. Right, in comes the 49 car. Lewis Moser handing over to Luca Link. The battle-weary Ginetta as well. That's had a lot of work done on it. The team deserve a flipping medal for what they've done to rebuild that car. Alexander Christensen handing over to fellow Swede Eric Bertelsen. Again, no major hurry. 95 seconds from pit entry to pit exit. They must not go below that. That is absolutely critical. But the outgoing driver helping the incoming driver to get buckled up. There's Luca Link. Behind the wheel of the BMW, having taken over from Lewis Moser. Luca, who has explored other options for racing this year, but it said to me yesterday, I've really found my home in the BMW, feel really comfortable here with FK Performance Motorsport behind me. I think this could be the way forward in my career. And he, along with Lewis Moser, really good combination of drivers. Lewis, a lot less experienced, but certainly getting up to speed, and the two of them complementing each other well. Luca fires the BMW into life, and very shortly he'll wait for the cue to leave the pit box. He'll aim to get to the white line and pit exit when the clock strikes 0, but certainly not before.
Yeah, Luca Link with a connection to BMWs as well. I mean, been a very good driver in the BMW M2 Cup in its previous iteration a few years ago. Really good pit stops to get to very close to the 1 minute 35 second minimum pit stop time, to within 0.3 of a second of it. For the number 26 Mercedes, Velder-Veldegg and Botman for Pro Sport, they did a 1 minute 35.3, and also doing exactly the same, Jonathan Engstrom and Kyan Potez in their Mercedes for CV Performance. But we saw the issues with the pink Mercedes, the Muka car, which has now been driven by Alex Connor. That was in and out in 1 minute and 46.3 seconds, so it lost over 11 seconds.
There's the 66 car, so that now has Leon Bauchmuller at the wheel, having taken over from Lucas Stiefelhagen. Right, well, that looks like the legs of Jan Philipp Springer. Worrying, I recognise the legs, really, isn't it? He'll be getting ready to relieve Philip Gogolot of driving duties, doing all the exercises. The nerves will no doubt be racing, even with the amount of experience he has. Up ahead of them, Henrik Still. He'll be handing over to the paraplegic driver, Tim Horrell. And they'll be looking to maybe try and make a jump in the pit sequence. They stay out at the moment, as does the very rapid Victor Nielsen. In the background, Denny Burnt keeping it up there, keeping it somewhere near a good point scoring position. I have to say, really impressed with Frederick Zebis in this race in the 33 car. A very inexperienced driver, a junior rookie, sharing with Nicholas Guillaume, but has really shown a good turn of speed here. And there, Daniel Drexel, looking for one of his best finishes in GT4 Germany. If he can keep things at the right end of the field. He's got Oscar Dix behind him at the moment. Oscar didn't even get to drive the car yesterday after Igor Litvinenko bent it in the first stint. So Dix is making up the lost time here and looking very quick too.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? I was looking at him coming out of turn 14, closing up ground in that Porsche Cayman. Oscar in that number 92 car there, the orange and white Wimmer Werk Motorsport Porsche Cayman. He raced in the Porsche Sprint Challenge Great Britain in a Porsche Cayman as well. So doing a good job here, Oscar Dix, currently running in 9th place. I think the track is dry again because the last but one lap was the new fastest lap of the race, set by Lucas Cartel, the race leader in the Toyota, with a 1 minute 31.493. It's just another good lap, a 1 minute 31.6, although 3 thousandths quicker on this lap with a 131.633 was Silvesterson in the BMW in 2nd place. So the gap between 1st and 2nd is just a touch under a second. It was obviously a lot more than that before the safety car, but I guess Cartel is going to stay out as long as he can just to try and grow that gap a little bit more. The Aston Martin, though, is coming in. Philip Gogelok from 4th place.
So Gogelok, his driving done for the weekend, keeps to the speed limit. Absolutely critical that you do that here. Into the pits he comes. There is Jan-Philipp Springhoff, ready to go. Another one with a very brightly coloured helmet, ready to take over the seat. And of course, Jan-Philipp started on pole position yesterday and looked really, really quick in the Aston Martin. What a great combination Gogelok and Springhoff are in ADAC GT4 Germany. You sometimes get it where you get two drivers that just seem to click together and they work really well. They're both so rapid. Gogelok parks the Cozy Racing by ESM Aston Martin Vantage into the pit box. He gets out of the car and then he'll help Jan-Philipp Springhoff to get buckled up. They'll plug him in, wish him good luck, shut the door, and his work will be done. And all he can do is then watch on as Jan-Philipp Springhoff tries to bring the car home in the points, possibly with a podium. Some interesting addition of gaffer tape there. So all the cars looking a little bit bruised in places. And I think that maybe that wet episode causing maybe a little bit more damage than we might have seen. So there goes Gogelok. He shuts the door, and now Springhoff just waits, and he will get the cue. He'll have a display on his dashboard that will tell him when to go as well, and he'll aim to get to the pit exit line when the clock strikes 0. At the moment, Cartel, Silvesterson, Steele, Nielsen, Bird all staying out. That's going to be interesting to see when they come in, because it's going to have to be soon, because it's only 1 minute and 20 seconds. So I have a feeling that the top 9 are all going to come in together. Here they come. There's Lucas Cartel, Benjamin Silvester, there's Henrik Still, Victor Nielsen, Denny Byrne. So if they were attempting to do an undercut or an overcut through the traffic, then it's really not going to happen here. So it's all going to be about he who dares wins when it comes to going close to the minimum pit stop time.
Just looking at the Aston Martin, it's about to go across the white line and finish its pit stop. How close is it going to be to the minimum pit stop time? It's another good one, 1 minute 35.3. We've seen a few of those now, so only 0.3 of a second over the minimum. You want to get as close to it as you can to that minimum pit stop time. But if you go 1,000th of a second under it, you're going to get a penalty. So you've got to have a little bit of slack in there. But that is very good. Cartel, by the way, just before he came in, had done another fastest lap of the race. That was 2 out of the last 3 laps. New fastest laps to the race. It was a fraction quicker, 1 minute 31.450. So just trying to give himself as much buffer as he can, and more importantly, to give his teammate a little bit of breathing space. Now that Hudson Schwartz, the American driver, is about to get into that car.
This is going to be interesting because all these cars are going to start moving at about the same time. Hudson Schwartz there, as you say, behind the wheel of that car. Lucas Cartel has done the hard work. He put it on pole. He's led every lap of the race so far. Now he hands it over to the driver who comes all the way from the USA. What a welcome addition to the grid Hudson Schwartz is. And he's now got an awful lot of pressure on his shoulders because he needs to now get that car back out in the lead of the race. At the moment, Jan-Philipp Springhoff is up at turn 12 and heading towards turn 13, trying to put in maybe a qualifying lap. There is Hudson Schwartz. He's moving. You'll see Springhoff, no doubt, at the top of the picture as Tim Horrell squeezes out in front of Gianni van der Kratz. Right there at the top of your picture is Jan-Philipp Springhob. On the right-hand side, there is Hudson Schwartz. So he should be out well in front of Jan-Philipp Springhob. But of course, his tyres will have cooled down while he's been stationary in the pits. So Springhob will be giving it everything. This is looking like a net third place for Springhob. He squeezes in front of Tim Horrell. So third place for the Aston Martin. Hudson Schwartz ahead of Gabriele Piana. Hudson Schwartz is going to have to really draw on everything he's got here, because Gabriele Piana, by far the most experienced driver in the field in that BMW, is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, so unfortunately the number 32 Porsche losing out the still Horrell car, which was running third before the pit stops. Looks like that's down to fourth. Somebody else that has gained in the pit stop phase, not just the Aston Martin, but I reckon the Linus Hahn and Philipp Viskirchen BMW number 77 has got itself up a few places during this pit stop window as well. It was at the tail end of the top 10. It's now going to be knocking on the door of the top 6 when this all settles down. So that's worked out well for them. 17.5 minutes plus 1 lap of racing still to go, though. And yes, indeed, that has progressed up the order, hasn't it, that 77 car, because it's right behind now the bright blue BMW, which was running in 5th place before all of this kicked off. So the Aston Martin comes through. Tim Horrell comes through, gets a little bit out of shape in the Porsche on the way through turn 13 into turn 14 now, and then punching on the accelerator onto the curbs there, and they get drift out wide and going across the start-finish line. This was how close it got in the pit stop, and that of course did delay slightly the number 50 Gianni van der Kratz car, didn't it? The blue BMW had to get off the throttle there briefly, and that's the car that is now coming under pressure from the 77 Linus Hahn orange and black BMW.
Yeah, Gianni van der Kratz, a real asset to GT4 Germany. Along with Victor Nielsen, he describes his teammate as very fast. There we are, corrected that one. And what a combination they are proving to be. Right, well, if the race finished as it is now, this is looking like a real stretch as we see cars taking to the grass. If things finish as they are now, Gabriele Piana, Benjamin Silvesterson would lead the championship by 2 points. They would be 2 points clear of Denny Byrne and Lachlan Robinson. In third place, it would be Jan-Philipp Springhob and Philip Gogelok. They would be just 8 points back. But interestingly, right into the equation would be Lucas Cartel and Hudson Schwartz. They would be 16 points back. Alon Gabe, Maxi Schreier would be 15 back. So they would be in fourth with Schwartz and Cartel in fifth. But it is incredibly close at the top of the championship standings if things remain as they are. No surprises that the incident between car 26 and 49 is under investigation. So that is Luca Link, along with Marit Buchmann, under investigation. Maxi Schreier keeping the foot buried on it as he ploughs on through the sandstorm. Yeah,
we saw the replay there. Buchmann in the Mercedes getting up the inside through turn 3 and stealing the racing line of Luca Link, and he's now being told to give the position back. So the Mercedes driver, Buchmann, at car 26, running in ninth place into 8th, back down to 9th, because he had to let the BMW of Luca Link back through for an unreasonable overtake. Look, the sun is now coming out here, so that track's going to get quicker and quicker. The cars get lighter and lighter in fuel, but they've also got to deal with tyres. They're getting older and older and slower. So it's always tough for the drivers coming in for the second stint, I think, isn't it? Because they've got the kind of second-hand car they're dealing with, especially if you are in that number 26 Mercedes and your name is Buchmann. You're trying to deal with a car which is falling apart and held together by gaffer tape, and has got older tyres on it.
Yes, it had been in a banger race prior to this, apparently. Can I just say, though, that it started on row 9 on the grid, on 18th position on the grid, the 26 car. It's got bits missing. I was predicting that it wouldn't even make it past the first pit window, and there it is in 9th place. So 10 out of 10 to Marit Buchmann along with Roman Felding for what they're doing there. It's shedding bits of debris. Right, well, there we go again. A little bit of a love tap on the way through. The stewards getting involved and deciding what order those cars should be in.
You let him back through, but he did it quite grudgingly, didn't he?
Yes,
with a little tap on the way through, yeah.
That was the championship leader in the number 31 car. Lachlan Robinson needs to make up some more spaces if they want to catch up and stay at the top of the championship at the end of this race. Because Gabriele Piana in second place. keeping Hudson Schwartz very much in sight. 0.892, so a fraction under 9/10 of a second between first and second as the bollards take another beating. Nobody gives up here, do they? 13.5 minutes remaining of race 6 of a 12-race season. Gianni van der Kratz and Linus Hane going wheel to wheel for 5th place. At the moment, van der Kratz has been shown as the 5th place runner. It is BMW versus BMW. In the background. The championship leader doesn't know which one to follow. At the moment, what a great battle this is. Gianni van der Kratz with the nose in front, but Linus Hane not giving up. Now he has the nose in front. He gives the squeeze to Gianni van der Kratz. That just opens the door for Lachlan Robinson to come through. He's going to try to take both of them, but Luca Link is in there as well in the background. What great racing this is. And now van der Kratz propelled the wrong side of the bollards, but this has all worked in the favour of Lachlan Robinson. He looks like he's going to be able to make up a position here as we look head on. Gianni van der Kratz in the blue BMW, and that has released Linus Hane up the road in the number 77 car. You can hardly watch this, can you?
Link followed him through. Oh, and he gets way out wide now, and then Hane is just in front of it all, watching it go into the mirrors, onto the grass as well goes Robinson. It's all kicking off here, even though the track's supposed to be getting grippier as the sun comes out. Proper ding-dong out there. But yeah, I was about to say, Luca Link really did well. He followed through the move, and so losing 2 places for the price of 1 was Gianni van der Kratz. And then Robinson, of course, threw one of those places back to him when he went off the road on the exit to the corner. He's just about going to close the door to stop this Mercedes coming through. I think the Mercedes and BMW drivers have decided they're not happy with the balanced performance. Their cars need to be lighter, so they're just bashing into each other and shedding bodywork.
Can I just say, I think Maxi Schreier has been quite robust with the sister car of Lachlan Robinson as well. I'm sure there's a lot of love lost between them in this race. Certainly Maxi Schreier getting in front of Lachlan Robinson, so that's a good job from him. Marit Buchmann just up ahead of them. The race finished now in this position. Well, you can see the points just flashing on the screen there, but it's changing by the second, so don't do the maths yet. There's a replay. All the bollards going flying, and this time the invoice is sent to Mr. van der Kratz for 3 bollards. He will blame the Porsche that was on the inside of him, saying, I had nowhere to go. Did someone think it was a good idea to put a camera in that bollard?
Rest in peace. The camera.
Rest in pieces.
The camera's gone.
The camera's gone.
Like watching 10-pin bowling, that, wasn't it? Took 3 Skittles out in one go. Blimey.
Our director here for ADAC GT4 Germany is great, and he loves to put cameras in places, but it's a high-risk strategy when GT4 Germany is on the track.
I hope they're insured.
You're never going to see them again, are you?
Wow, pretty feisty out there, wasn't it? It's been quite calm up until this point, but now it's properly kicked off. Right, Schwartz in the Toyota, leading by just over a second, so that gap has kind of stayed more or less as it was just before they all came diving into the pits in that group. Piana in the BMW is in second place. Last time around, he was quicker, but he was only 21 thousandths of a second quicker than the Toyota. It'll take forever to catch up at that rate of knots. And then Springbob with the Aston Martin, having leapt to third during the pit stop phase, is still third. Horrell going well in the Porsche. Top Porsche out there in 4th place. Top Pro-Am as well. Here we go side by side again, though, in this battle for 7th place. The BMW of van der Kratz is going to lose out this time because Botman has pulled off the manoeuvre. Well, there's another one as well if he's not too careful here. No, he keeps him at bay, stays just ahead. Yeah, van der Kratz finally losing out. Schreier tried to get through as well, but Botman there having to work really hard not to lose 2 places here, which he just about did.
What great racing. Less than 10 minutes remaining as we approach the halfway point of the season for ADAC GT4 Germany 2026. Who knows what the hell's going to happen in the next 9.5 minutes. At the moment, Hudson Schwartz is looking for a boring remainder of the race. He's a little over a second clear of Gabriele Piana, Jan-Philipp Springhob in the last of the podium positions. In the Pro-Am race, it's Tim Horrell who leads the race as we continue to look at this battle between Gianni van der Kratz and Maxi Schreier. Schreier in the Porsche on the right-hand side. It's a drag race in towards turn 1. It's going to see who has the most grunt, who is the bravest on the brakes. It's going to be a quick left and then the sweeping right at the moment. It is advantage Schreier. He gets the job done. Can van der Kratz come back? The back end starts to slide a little in that BMW. But still, It is a good job from Maxi Schrei into that 8th place. Marek Buchmann in what remains of that Mercedes up ahead of them. I was about to say in the Pro-Am race, Tim Horrell is leading the way, as denoted by the green box around his number. He, along with Hendrik Stiller, are Pro-Am pairing. Second in the Pro-Ams is Jesper Jensen in number 91. And third, haven't even mentioned Michał Maniszewski yet. Great to have him here. Welcome guest driver in the GT4 Germany. He's in the Razzoon More Than Racing car. He's a sim racer turned real world racer. He has raced here in an Audi R8 for Land Motorsport in the past. And there is a car into the barrier. That is the number 10 car. So that is the aforementioned Michał Maniszewski, who's had problems, been turned around into the barrier. As I was talking about him, looks like he's been able to gather it up and keep going though.
Bounced off the barrier, got going again, and pretty robust, aren't they, these cars? So back away he goes, but hairy moment that. Now, is that gap coming down on this lap? Let's have a look. It crept up on the previous lap to 1.1 seconds. Yeah, fraction quicker through the first sector, fraction quicker through the second. Yeah, he's at times getting there. He's certainly keeping Schwartz under pressure, isn't he? And here, talk about pressure. This is Tim Horrell, maybe about to concede a position here. Yes, he does. He eventually loses out to Linus Harner and the orange and black BMW squeezing through with a good move. You've got Luca Link in the next BMW just behind as well. But Tim Horrell absolutely nailing this in terms of the Pro-Am. I mean, the next best Pro-Am is Jensen, which is down in 17th place. So doing a good job. They had a good strategy, went well through the pit stop as well, but that is him now down to 5th place. Harner in the BMW up to 4th. Link just behind them in 6th place. And then, 7th, and having left behind now, is definitely being held up by Gianni van der Kratz. That number 26 Mercedes, what's left of it, of Marek Buchmann, is going well now, trying to catch up to this group. He's still about 2.5 seconds behind them, though.
We're watching there the move from Linus Harner on Tim Horrell. I would just remind you, Tim Horrell is a paraplegic driver. Oh, it's Luca Link into the gravel, so he's had a moment. I was about to say Tim Horrell, paraplegic driver, using hand controls in that car. Hendrik still doesn't have to use hand controls, so it switches back to regular controls when he's behind the wheel. Right, well, what's happened? Oh, and that is a damaged steering at the front. That is certainly game over for the number 49 car. That is a real shame because Luca Link, along with Lewis Moser, had done such a strong job. Really good, entertaining racing, but that is certainly game over. Question is, are we going to need some kind of caution to move that car? Right, let's have a look here. Was it getting together with Horrell? Was it a bollard? What was it? Or was it just the curbs?
Yeah, I think they're pretty brutal, those curbs.
Yeah.
But you have to ride them. You have to attack them to be quick through there. And I think, the suspension had broken, which is why he went off the road. We saw him initially off the road.
Full course yellow.
That was why. And full course yellow. Luca Link out of proceedings. That's everybody behind him at one place. Gianni van der Kratz back into 8th because that pale blue BMW had been struggling in the second half of the race, hadn't it? It was 5th, remember, before the pit stops. It dropped down to 9th. It's back up to 8th now. The blue BMW, the FK performance car of Gianni van der Kratz, as we see more bits of BMW from Luca Link's car, the disintegration. There's going to be a lot of... It's a good job it's the end of the day, this, because there's going to be a lot of sweeping to do by the marshals, isn't there?
I was thinking more souvenirs for the fans, but I'm not sure that works like that. But yes, that would have... A good job he pulled that over, because a wheel doing that would have done an awful lot of damage to everything that you can't see in that BMW. They build them strong at BMW, but not that strong. So full course yellow is out. It means cars have to reduce to 80 kilometres an hour. Obviously, no overtaking. In theory, the gap should remain the same, but of course, every driver takes the corner at a different line. Everybody accelerates, decelerates at a different time. So although the gaps should remain roughly the same, they don't always. Hudson Schwartz, I think, might be quite pleased for this, and he'll be saying, take your time cleaning up that car, because he is looking for a first ever win in ADAC GT4 Germany. It is only his 6th ever race in this series, and he's got behind him the driver that has started every single one that there's ever been. So an awful lot of pressure. And I think Gabriele Piano would struggle to get past the Supra under normal conditions, but I think it's keeping the concentration, keeping it together. When you've got that car behind you, putting the pressure on, you only need to miss a braking point once, and Piano is going to be through.
Yeah, and this is going to be dealt with fairly quickly, I think, isn't it, this errant BMW? So a very good chance that we are going to get back underway before the time ticks out, and we'll get at least a lap or two of racing once again, which is good news for Piana. Not such good news for Schwartz, because he is going to have to, I think, defend on the trackless race lead. I think that's going to be the case, because they're already towing Luca Link's BMW. We have to be a bit careful because it's got that broken front right suspension. So away that goes, and here are our two leaders, and the 1.2 second advantage completely wiped out now, of course. Big gap behind, so he's free to fight for it, isn't he? He's free to try some different racing lines, and Piana, with all of his experience in this championship in these cars, is going to be a fearsome rival, a fearsome opponent in the what's remaining section of this race.
Right, we're about to go green. This is going to be a really important 3 minutes plus 1 lap for Hudson Schwartz. He's going to have to focus hard on all that's ahead, not look in the mirrors. Just think about getting it right, hitting all the apexes, hitting all the braking points. Piana will throw caution to the wind. He is going to put the pressure onto the Toyota Supra in front, but the Supra has looked so nimble all weekend here at the Oschersleben Motorsport Arena. 2 minutes and 40 seconds plus 1 lap remaining of this race. A fantastic race, a grandstand finish in the background. Jan-Philipp Springhoff will be ready to jump if these two cars get together. Linus Hahner also there in 4th place ahead of Tim Horrell, the Pro-Am leader. So Hudson Schwartz there looks to have done the start pretty smoothly. He's opened up a gap again over Gabriele Piana. I do think that Piana doesn't have the legs to get past that Supra, but it's so important that Hudson Schwartz holds it all together, keeps his concentration. In the background, there's yesterday's winner, Jan-Philipp Springhoff. Then coming around the corner a little way back is Linus Hahner. The gap between first and second, 0.823. So Schwartz opening up the smallest amount of breathing room.
Yeah, it is small. It's tiny, absolutely tiny. So this is how you're going to deal with the pressure. Some pressure behind as well, like in that battle that's going on with Gianni van der Kratz, coming under a bit of fire over the start-finish line, but doing enough for now into turn 1 to fend off this man in the Porsche, Schreier. But Schreier closes up again under braking on the way into the Hotel Curva at turn 2. No way through here, though. So Schwartz and Piana free to fight for it, free to fight for this race victory. Nearly 6 seconds clear of the Aston Martin of Springhoff in that 3rd place. He, in turn, has got a big old buffer back to Linus Hahner in the BMW in 4th place, kart 77, who's at a moment, who's off the road here.
It
is, Tim Horrell, just understeering off the road, trying to gather it back together, trying to scramble back onto the track without losing another position, but he's tucked himself in just ahead of Robinson, so he's dropped behind Butman down to 6th place.
If Robinson can get past Tim Horrell, the championship lead will be just 1 point for Gabriele Piana and Benjamin Silvesterson. It will be so close. So Robinson will be eager to get those valuable points. There's Tim Horrell on the outside of Marit Bookman. We see them running side by side in contact. The replay. There was a bit of contact. Is there any car that the number 26 car hasn't made contact with yet? That was that wild moment we saw in Horrell getting propelled off into the runoff area. Regathers it, so he's able to rejoin, but suddenly this is an opportunity for Robinson. At the moment, 15 seconds on the clock. They're up at turn 3 at the moment. That is the Hasseröder that you can see on your screen. So it will be about a lap and 3/4 remaining of this race. A lap and 3/4 for Hudson Schwartz to hold it all together to take what will be an amazing first ever win. You saw a little puff of smoke there under braking. Needs to hold it all together. The tyres on that car will be worn. The driver will be tired. He will be wary of all that's going on around him. But now he needs to just hold it all together. 1 point will be the difference if things remain as they are, with Robinson now having got past Tim Horrell up to the 6th place. That valuable point gained if things remain as they are now. But we've still got a fraction over 1 lap remaining. In the background, the number 33 car, Nicolas Guillaume, who's taken over from Frederick Zebes. What a great job they've done here. No further action. between Bookman and Tim Horrell of the incident that we saw from the very back of the pack. You see the 97 car with Alexander Christensen at the wheel. That's the Ginetta. So that's been in the wars, as has the car in front with Jonathan Engstrom at the wheel. But no such issues so far. We're on to the final lap. Needs to hold it all together still. Piana will not need many more invitations to steal this race win away. How cruel would that be? We're into the last lap of the race. And still, Hudson Schwartz from the USA holds on around Hasseröder for the very last time. Piana's now dropped back. Piana suddenly looking quite a lot slower. The gap has opened up. Maybe Piana has settled for that second place. Another puff of smoke under braking. You get the feeling that the tyres on the number 87 car have absolutely worn out. He heads towards turn 8 on board with Linus Hane on the final lap of the racer. Then we see Leon Bouchmuller there getting up close and personal with Tim Horrell. Everybody fighting for every last point. But meanwhile, out onto the back straight for the very last time into turn 11 and then round to turn 12. Just 2 more corners to go into turn 13 and then 14. This car with this partnership has finished on the podium twice. Both times it was a third place at the Norris Ring. They now go 2 steps higher. It's going to be a first ever win for Lucas Cartel and Hudson Schwartz for CRT Sports, and a return to the top step of the podium for the Toyota Supra. A sterling job from pole position, second across the line and to the top of the championship. Gabriele Piana and Benjamin Silvesterson, yesterday's winner on the podium. Jan-Philipp Springhob along with Philip Gogolop in third place. But still the fighting continues. Tim Horrell losing 7th place or maybe even 8th to Bouchmuller. Out across the line they come. What a grandstand finish that was for that position. Gianni van der Kratz also squeezing past Horrell up into 8th place. Great stuff. What great racing. And Leon Bouchmuller, what a good job from him, up to 7th place. What a race. Brilliant stuff from ADAC GT4 Germany.
Oh, poor old Tim Horrell there, getting mugged on the line, dropping from 7th to 9th in that Porsche. We can see that Bouchmuller definitely got him, but Gianni van der Kratz crossed the line in that blue BMW for FK Performance, just 25 thousandths of a second ahead of Tim Horrell. He still comfortably won the Pro-Am category, but given that he came out of the pits in 4th place, he would be a bit disappointed that he ended up losing a few, but still overall a good race for them. But absolutely impressed by Hudson Schwartz, because we were building up the pressure that was coming after the full course yellow. Right behind him was the ultra experienced BMW driver Gabriele Piana, but he shook him off. I mean, he drove it like he stole it, didn't he, for that last 2 laps? Yes. He even put a wheel through the gravel coming out at turn 13. But rather than being too defensive, take note of this, Thomas Tuchel, he went on the attack instead. He went on the attack to defend his lead, and guess what happened? He won the race. Fantastic. That's the way to do it.
It was at the Nürburgring in 2022, the last time we saw, the only time we've seen a Toyota Supra win in ADAC GT4 Germany. It's been a long wait. Was always very excited to see the car, very pretty looking car, rejoin this series for 2026. And in the hands of Hudson Schwartz and Lucas Cartel have proven to be a formidable force and very much in the championship hunt. Gabriele Piana, Benjamin Silvesterson jumped to the top of the standings by 1 point. This is going to go all the way to the wire, isn't it? So that is very exciting. Good job by them. And Jan-Philipp Springhob and Philip Gogolok, they are very much in the championship hunt now. They've taken a win yesterday and a 3rd today. So that makes it even closer at the top. Great racing from ADAC GT4 Germany. The cars are currently, hopefully, going to be shepherded into the fan zone where the podium is waiting for this year. Past the car on the right-hand side that won the DTM race earlier. Spoilers, sorry if you were recording it. And out past the pits, they will come. I should think that Lucas Cartel, that would have been a nervous half an hour for him. He'd started on pole position, done all the hard work, and then that issue when you're sharing a car, you then hand it over to your co-driver and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, plus of course nice big buffer that he built up got wiped out by the safety car towards the end of his first stint, didn't it? So when he stayed out, had a few more laps to try and build it back to over a second, but it was still a bit frustrating for him. He was excellent, wasn't he, in that first stint in the Toyota, and that really contributed to taking a bit of pressure off through the pit stop, taking a little bit of pressure off for his teammate. Well driven Lucas Cartel for stint 1, and really well driven at the end of that race for Hudson Schwartz as well. Deserving winners in the Toyota. 1.5 seconds clear in the end, so it was easy peasy, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, very easy. Lucas Cartel. And you still see the adrenaline there, can't you? Waiting for Hudson to arrive. What a great driver combination they are. Really, really pleased to have them in the ADAC GT4 Germany. Lucas, who has won the Swedish Geneta Cup for the last 2 years, so this is something a little bit different. Here comes Hudson Schwartz into the area for the podium. And Hudson, I already mentioned, he comes the furthest, 16 years old, from Washington, D.C., has been karting since he was 4 years old, and has decided to show how good he is in Europe, which is really the big stage if you're trying to make it in the world of GT racing. And no doubt at all, we're going to see these two drivers in GT3 racing sometime in the future, maybe in the not too distant future. But Hudson climbs from the car, and what a great job they've done. They looked so good at the Norris Ring a few weeks ago. They got a 4th place at the Red Bull Ring at the season opener, but had that non-finish in race 2. So always been there. There's Philip Gogolot on the left-hand side with the Pirelli hat, and Jan-Philipp Springhoff just removing his helmet. They'll be pretty satisfied with that. Philip was not entirely sure that they had the legs to beat some of the other cars this weekend, so I think he'll be really happy with a 1st and a 3rd. And there, the man who's just completed his 90th race in ADAC GT4 Germany, has won everything there is to win in GT4 racing, Gabriele Piana. And he's been coaching the man there with the Pirelli hat, Benjamin Silvesterson, and what a great job he's done with him.
Yeah, he was mega yesterday, wasn't he, Silvesterson? Really enjoyed watching his overtaking manoeuvres. But yeah, for Jan-Philipp Springhoff and Philip Gogolok, if you can hold your position with all that success ballast on board, start 3rd, finish 3rd, get 2 podiums out of a weekend, that's a really good job done.
There you see the classification, obviously subject to confirmation, but the points that go with it. You can see why a 2nd place will want to get 1st. That's a big jump from 2nd to 1st, a 5 points different, 4 points difference between 2nd and 3rd. So every place counts here, but the points paid all the way down to 15th place. So congratulations to Jonathan Engstrom and Kyan Potez, who got a point out of that race as well. Commiserations, I think, to Jack James and Hamish Forrester. I think but for that rain would have probably got more than those 3 points. But ifs and buts, that's racing. Congratulations also to Tim Horrell and Hendrik Still, who win in the Pro-Am pairings as well. As we look from the drone down, this I think is the drone that we're looking from, or a very large crane, down at the podium, the fans gathering, one of the last events of the weekend. We've got DTM Classic coming up after this, but apart from that, the last event of the weekend here at the Motorsport Oschersleben Arena, Oschersleben Motorsport Arena. Really good racing always here, and we are now at the halfway point of the season. The halfway champions, Gabriele Piana and Benjamin Silvesterson, by the slimmest of margins. We haven't got long to wait. That's 3 weeks, I think it is, till we're at the Nürburgring for the next round. It'd be interesting to see how the Supra goes around there.
Yeah, that's the kind of beauty of this calendar, isn't it? The circuits they all visit are very, very different to one another. You go to Norris Ring, you go to Oschersleben, you go to Nürburgring, and you know they all have these different strengths and weaknesses. And even without the balance of performance, evening things out, it's still extremely close racing. It's still very wide open, this championship, whether you're on Toyota, BMW, whether you're on a Porsche or a Ginetta. So Schwartz with that great defensive driving going in attack, building in the end that gap, that advantage to 1.5 seconds. But yeah, another solid weekend with the podium visits for Gabriele Piana and Benjamin Silvesterson. Podiums on both days, and the same is true, of course, for Jan-Philipp Springhob and Philip Gogolok. So those are 3 sets of drivers that will be heading to the podium, but taken to the top step, Lucas Cartel and Hudson Schwartz. But yeah, exactly, the Nürburgring, some longer straights there, some faster corners, but also some tight fiddly bits at the start of the lap there into the arena section. There's some really hard bits of braking, and you really have to have a car which is good on rotation, good through the turns as well. So it's quite, I think, a circuit that nobody's really going to dominate at, 'cause it's got a bit of everything at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, we head to the Sachsenring, and that is an altogether different animal, the Mini Nordschleife, with its blind crests and high-speed straights as well. Right, well, we look there at the winners. We did just have a pause for interviews. Benjamin Silvesterson, Gabriele Piana, I think they were just commenting on what a slim lead they now have. Nobody is in a comfortable position in the championship. That's how it should be, going all the way to the wire. There is Benjamin with a big smile on his face. Certainly has my vote as one of the most improved drivers I've seen this year. And he, along with Gabriele Piana, getting those valuable points that launched them to the top of the championship. Right, well, we're going to do this in reverse order. So here come the 3rd place finishers, Jan-Philipp Springhob and Philip Gogolok. Back onto the podium once again for Gogolok. It's his 9th podium, and for Jan-Philipp Springhob, it is his 10th podium in ADAC GT4 Germany. I think Gabriele Piana must have a warehouse to put all of his trophies in. This is his 31st podium, I think it is. Make a 32nd podium in GT4 Germany. And onto the top step of the podium. First ever wins for Hudson Schwartz and Lucas Cartel. What a great drive. All the work started in quali this morning with Lucas Cartel putting it on that pole position. And then, apart from the pit stop sequence window, they led every lap of the race to take a first ever win for CRT Motorsport. The Belgian national anthem to represent CRT Sport. And the team will also get a trophy as well as the winning team. Martin Sticknoth, District Administrator of the Border District in the Magdeburg border. Great place to come, always made to feel very welcome here. Really pretty part of Germany. The second place trophies to Benjamin Silvesterson. Benjamin Kanigeiser, Mayor of the city of Oschersleben. They must love it when this comes to town. So many, how many people was it? 55,000 people here this weekend.
Yeah, 55,000, and it was busy last year at the start of the season when they had 47,500. So yeah, really
every year.
Good, enthusiastic crowd that we get here.
Magnus Saugstrup, by the way, Magdeburg handball player.
Yes, presenting the trophies as well. Yeah, the great thing about this place is that the fans are really close to everything because you've got the grass banking where you can sit right by the track. There's a couple of grandstands as well, but it's a relatively small paddock as well, so it feels like it's busy everywhere, and really good, enthusiastic fans that come from all around, because Magdeburg, it's a good half an hour drive away. It's a fairly agricultural area with lots of small villages that we're in, but it really comes alive, this place, when motorsport comes to town.
Yeah, it really does. And a real highlight, I think, of the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben calendar when the DTM circus comes to town. But we are done here for this year. So we've only got about 3 weeks to wait before we head across to the Nürburgring in the Eifel region for part 2 of the season. It will be races 7 and 8 from the 14th to the 16th of August, round 4 of this championship, which is too close to call. Then it'll be the Sachsenring in September, Hockenheim Ring, where we'll all come to a close in October. It really is wide open. The ADAC WNS Motorsport Porsches not really looking strong here at the Oschersleben Motorsport Arena, but you know they will be back at the Nürburgring. All these different circuits favouring different cars and different brands. It was certainly the Toyota Supra that shone here today in the hands of Lucas Cartel and Hudson Schwartz, and providing us with some spectacular racing in ADAC GT4 Germany. Always steals the show here.
Yeah, that's a good races this weekend. Yesterday in particular, they did well in the wet conditions earlier on as well, didn't they? Some good driving, some good skills on display, and in the end, deserving race winners here on day 2.
So day 1 and day 2 completed. Round 3 done and dusted. 3 rounds down, 3 more to go. Join us at the Nürburgring in August as we resume with part 2 of this enthralling story. From myself, Brian Oliver, and Chris Hartley, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.